These days, life has become rather complicated, so much so that even if you want to buy a motorcycle, you will have to first decide what kind of a motorcycle you want because there are so many of them available. And I also feel that you must figure out for yourself what do you want that machine to do for you. For example, if you want to get to the 100-kilometer mark in the fastest possible way, then you are looking at buying a super bike. Or if you want to go cross-country riding, then you're looking at a cruiser. But what I have with me today is a bike which will do all these quite well. It will easily take you through the smooth as well as the rough. This is the latest from Suzuki motorcycles in India, the chunky V-Strom, a motorcycle that will get you attention no matter where you go with her. In fact, what can she do, you will ask me next, and I'll tell you she will do exactly what you want her to. It's a multi-purpose machine which can take you to work on an everyday basis or even off-roading. And if you want to go long-distance cruising, this is a bike which will easily do this for you.
Suzuki Motorcycles, with a strong presence in the Indian high-end motorcycle market, recently launched the V-Strom to substantially add to their top-of-the-line offerings here. Positioned as a go-anywhere bike, the V-Strom is sure to interest someone who loves motorcycling.
The high stands and plenty of ground clearance here means two things. A, you don't have to be afraid of those monstrous speed breakers anymore. And B, you can easily take her off the road. The 1000 written here means that there is a 1000cc engine here, which in turn means that if you find an open stretch of road, you can disappear pretty fast. The V-Strom here is powered by a 1037cc engine, which is a V-twin inclined at 90 degrees. And the good part about this engine is that it's extremely tractable in city traffic. This is mated to a 6-speed gearbox, which is easy to shift, and the bike comes with traction control and ABS.
The V-Strom churns out a little over 99 brake horsepower and 103 Newton meters of torque from this motor, and this is around 5 brake horsepower more than what the outgoing model was producing. This new one is more powerful and also comes with the addition of traction control. This comes with ABS as well, and the twin discs do a wonderful job of stopping the bike very effectively. The V-Strom measures in at almost 2.3 meters, which is as good as the wheelbase of many a compact car, and weighs in at 228 kgs, which doesn't make it a lightweight either. But the good part is that the ground clearance is 165 millimeters, which gives it enough room to maneuver through different terrain. But the downside is that the saddle height is 850 meters, and this is a bit too high, especially if you're lacking inches. But the company says that they offer a different seat to lower the ride height for shorter riders.
This is a naked bike in terms of styling, and I quite like naked bikes, but the problem with them is that in terms of fairings, either they are non-existent or, as in this case, it's too small. And the consequence of this is that if you're riding on the highway at highway speeds, there is a lot of wind buffeting that you face, and you kind of get tossed around and the wind noise is too much. And in this case, this is exactly what happens because this fairing is extremely small. And another thing which I don't like is the quality of this fairing. It doesn't look like OEM stuff. In fact, it looks like bad quality aftermarket.
And to change the riding dynamics, you have the suspension adjustment, and you can choose between the harder or the softer option. The good part is that this bike also comes with traction control as well as ABS, and the traction control comes with 2 modes. In the first mode, for more adventurous riding, you can induce a bit of wheel spin. But if you choose option 2, then the bike takes off smoothly without any sliding at all. Also, if you choose, you can switch off the traction control completely. But the 19-inch wheel she rides on up front ensures that changing directions really fast at highway speeds is not something that she willingly loves to do. So at high speed, she is not as chuckable as you'd like her to be.
moment you sling your leg over the seat, you realize that in spite of its size, this is a very comfortable bike to ride. The seats are well padded, the tank is sculpted in such a way that you can tuck in your knees, the handlebars are large and easy to grip, and the riding position is really upright, so you have a nice commanding view of the surroundings. And this is one bike which is even easy to ride in city traffic. In fact, when you start riding it, you realize that you don't really have to make a pit stop till about the next 1,000 kilometers. It's that comfortable.
The instrumentation is large and easy to read and is a combination of analog and digital. And to meet the necessities of modern day life, it also comes with a 12-volt socket for charging your mobile, something you might need if you're traveling long distance.
So the big question is, why would anybody like to own a bike like this? On the upside, this is a bike which can pretty much do anything that any other bike can do. On the downside, she can't do any of these things extremely well. For example, she is not the fastest of the block, she isn't the best looking one, and she certainly isn't value for money. So my guess is that you'll only own this bike if you're looking for something which is big and has loads of road presence, and somewhere in the back of your mind you have that long road trip to Ladakh. And if that's the case, then this is the bike for you.
The V-Strom is a completely built-up unit and sold as an import here in India. Consequently, it is priced on the higher side at Rs 16.56 lakhs on road in Delhi. And at this price, the V-Strom is certainly not going to be the most affordable bike. The action from the JK National Racing Championship continued as the last races of the round 2 started. In the final race of the LGV class at the 2.2 km Curry Speedway in Coimbatore, the action was fast and close as drivers did their best to find their way past each other. The tight corners and the chicanes were the places to watch out for, as this is where most of the overtaking action took place. Vishnu Prasad, the leading driver in car number 66, who had won the earlier races, started on the pole, but he was closely followed by Diljit in car number 7, who patiently waited for his chance to make the move on Vishnu. The track was wet and slippery, and it was not easy for the drivers to keep these tail-happy cars in a straight line. But it was Diljit's constant pressure which finally paid off when in lap number 10 he was able to make his way past Vishnu and take the lead. He produced his best lap time of 1 minute 15.52 seconds to stretch the lead further. But this time Vishnu was having a tough time to keep his position, as he was further pushed by Diljit's teammate Sarosh Ataria to 3rd place as the track started drying up. The 15-lap race ended in this order, with Diljit taking the checkered as a winner of race 3 and with Sarosh Ataria in 2nd place, followed by the seasoned Vishnu Kumar in 3rd place.
Now we moved on to the saloon class, the Polo R Cup. The cars are lined up behind me and they are just itching to go. This is a very keenly competitive class because all the cars are evenly matched, and what really matters is, in the end, the driver's skill. So we hope to see plenty of action now from this class of cars.
In the saloon car category, the Polo R Cup race continued to see action as in the earlier race. The track, which had been wet all morning, was finally drying up and the drivers were out there bent on making the most of it. The Polo R Cup is an evenly matched battle, with all the drivers getting an identical car, and the only difference is their driving skill, which decides the outcome. Consequently, over the many races, honours had been shared between the drivers. But in race 2 of round 1, it was clear that Bonnie Thomas in car number 21, who started from the grid in second position, was in no mood to relent. Right from corner 1, when he went into the lead, he set the pace with an exhibition of skillful driving, with the right dose of aggression and caution. The result was that he led the race virtually from the start to finish and eventually won. Although Karvinder Pal Singh and Yatin Magoo, who finished second and third respectively, tried their best to play catch-up. But it was a day where Bonnie Thomas could do no wrong as he took the second win of the season. The JK Tyre National Racing Championship has been going on for 17 long years, and it is the longest championship in motorsports in India. And what it has really done for motorsports is to breed talent. I have two young men with me who have done India really proud. They're racing in the international circuit. So I'm going to ask them what exactly have they gained from the JK Tyre Championship.
My first ever race in a single-seater car was on this track, and it was in 2005. So I've grown. I think I was in the championship till 2007, so that's 3 years, 5, 6 and 7. And over the 3 years it helped me grow a lot before I could make my step to international racing. And I see that a lot now. In fact, the growth that these youngsters have is much faster because the level of competition is definitely pretty high. So it is a good stepping stone before someone heads up abroad.
We've come a long way. I think it's a proven fact that this championship has produced some quality drivers. If you look at the history, and even today in all the classes that you could see fantastic racing. I experienced it firsthand. Alja and myself in the car, and I think that the level definitely from when we were racing, at least when I started, is a lot higher, and they just grow at a much faster rate because there's so many more opportunities been given.
After the intensely competitive Polo R Cup race, we come to the conclusive race of the round 2 of the JK Tyre National Racing Championship, and to end it in style, we have the BMW Formula cars lined up, and this promises to be an action-packed race. The BMW Formula race, the fastest of the day, as to be expected, was fast and furious. And as in the earlier race, the surprise package of two of India's fastest drivers, Arman Ibrahim and Aditya Patel, were very much part of this race as well. The two were guest drivers, and they were starting from the back of the grid, and the challenge for them was to make their way past some of India's best young drivers. They were not part of the championship, and their inclusion was only to motivate and demonstrate the level of skill required internationally for a driver to come up from the ranks. It was Chitesh Mandodi in car number 9 who sat on the pole and started leading the race right from the word go. But it was the duo of Arman and Aditya who started making their way up, and by the end of the first few laps had made their way past most of the field. But lower down the order, the action was close and positions changed often, but it was flawless driving by Chitesh Mandodi which ensured that he led the race and eventually took the checker. He was followed by Akhil Ravindra in car number 4 and Krishnaraj Mahadik in car number 7. Strong winds, intermittent rain, wet track surface, the weather was hardly perfect for a hard day's racing. But that did not deter any driver from going flat out, and the result was an action-packed round 2 of the JK Tyre National Championship. And with the last race of the Formula BMW, we conclude this round, but we promise to be back with more when the round 3 happens.